How's it going, folks? Eric Nye here. I want to start doing another format of video. I want to start making like a vlog type video every week, in addition to the gaming videos I already make. So in these videos, I might be talking about who I am or some aspect of my life that relates to gaming in some way. Maybe I'll be expressing an opinion about gaming and gaming culture. Maybe some problem that I have with a certain type of game design mechanic. Maybe, which character from Mass Effect I would most get drunk with. Whatever it is, it'll have very little, if any, gaming footage. So I guess I'll start with a topic that feels like a little bit of a band-aid for me. At the time when I was really, really broke and I didn't really have the financial freedom to play video games. I won't get too much into my childhood, but I was definitely one of the weird, awkward kids with zero social skills. So obviously I played video games. But I played video games so often that it was kind of all I would think about. And if I wasn't thinking about that, I was having some kind of childhood existential crisis and questioning reality. And it definitely molded me into the sort of person who would say probably well-meaning things, but things that just ended up hurting people and alienating them. Like one time I remember I was talking with a classmate, and I don't remember what it was, but I said something to annoy her in some way. And I said, whatever, you must be on your period. And I wasn't even trying to be mean. I really thought that was a perfectly acceptable thing to say to someone, and justifiably she let me have it. But basically I had terrible social skills. I was also a huge philosophy nerd. You should be kind of getting the picture. I was just a little nice guy. I think I even had a pinstripe fedora. But this was, back in the early aughts, before it was not cool. But when I discovered philosophy, I was shocked that there were words for the thoughts that occupied my mind most of the time. Existentialism, absurdism, solipsism, things of that nature. But I loved that it was a study in how people thought, because that's what bothered me all the time. Because I thought that if I could understand other people and the way they think, that might give me some context into understanding myself and understanding reality and the world around me a little more. Because that's what was really bothering me, that I couldn't understand reality. So as soon as I could, I moved out of my parents' house and vowed to pursue understanding and as many perspectives and people that I possibly could, in order to foster a more objective outlook on reality and the world and, humanity. So like any responsible dive into society after an adolescence of isolation, I started doing a lot of drugs and smoking weed and drinking heavily. But that's a story for another time. I knew that my desire to play video games all the time was a problem. And that it had to go for the time being. And surprise, surprise, leaving your parents' house at 19 and trying to survive in the real world is not particularly easy, to say the least. So I couldn't really even afford to play video games. A lot of this time I was technically homeless and mostly just couch surfing. So I spent this time meeting people, all kinds of different people, and learning their perspectives and their understanding of the world and the way they thought. And I approached it with the understanding that my opinions aren't fully refined. I don't know everything, and I never will. Obviously, my social skills changed for the better. But another really interesting thing happens when you put your opinions on hold for a while and accept the reality that you don't know everything. The more you talk to and listen to and try to understand the people around you, your understanding of the world and reality does increase, and your understanding of people increases, and you can empathize with people a little more effectively. And also, I no longer felt like an isolated weirdo. I felt like I was just surrounded by weirdos. But the reason I'm talking about this is because I often think about, had I not done this, I probably would have just kept playing video games nonstop. I would have just protected myself from the rest of the world and society, and I would have been getting older while my thoughts stayed the same. I'm not saying I would have become some kind of alt-right incel or anything like that, but I probably wouldn't have been that far off. And I want to be really clear, this isn't some anti-gaming sentiment. Obviously, I still love video games today. I mean, I make videos about them, but I learned that it was really important that there's some kind of balance. I don't know how many studies there are on this, but I'm willing to bet you if you compare gamers who don't throw out slurs all the time with those who do, there's going to be some direct correlation with a lack of social life for the latter. And for those of you who want to get really nitpicky about it, there's a link in the description with a study. But what about multiplayer games? And the fact that video games have become more of a social activity. Yeah, they have. But I'm talking about a time when multiplayer was just becoming a big thing. A lot of gamers around that time, myself included, avoided multiplayer games because the moment we put a headset on, we couldn't go 5 minutes without it sounding like a KKK morning radio show. And I don't mean to sound racist, but some of my best friends are non-gamers. I'm not trying to send any kind of inspiring message. Everyone has a different experience. I know there was some news recently about gaming disorder, and I don't have a lot of extensive research on that. I'm not trying to comment on that at all. I'm just trying to share my experience, which is you can't really go wrong with trying to meet and understand people who are different from you and their experiences. I was absolutely the sort of person who was afraid to jump into social situations, but because of this experience, I can say with absolute certainty, I now have friends who have made me the person I am today, and some of them are the reason I'm even here. But yeah, I figured, you know, if I'm gonna start doing vlog type stuff, why not start with something really fucking heavy? But I'm excited to keep doing these. They're not all gonna be, you know, heavy-handed personal stories, but I'd actually be interested in suggestions. If you have any ideas of what I should talk about next, you can comment here about that, or you can go to my Discord. There's a link for that in the description. If you like this video, good. I want to keep making more of them. Sure, subscribing helps, but what would help me even more is if you jump over to my Patreon page and decide, I don't need this money, I'll just give it to this guy. He's cool, he looks like he smells nice. So in these videos, I might be talking about who I am, or does being a furry make you a feminist? Should we increase taxes on Tide Pods? Why we can't have nice things, episode 1, Grimes. Titanic victims, where are they now? How yoga can help awaken your inner beast mode. How to turn your mental illness into mental chillness. Do all gay frogs go to heaven? The nightclub.